Away. Okay, so now I'm going to say we're back. Or do you want to do that?
You want me to do it?
Yeah, you want to say we're back?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then the mic. All right. And folks, we are back. Hello. We are back from our break. And up next is...
Who is up next?
Who is up next? It is
Brett Benson.
Good old Brett Benson.
Brett Benson! Now we're going to zoom in on this man here. He's a monster, but we like him. He's our monster.
He's a monster.
Oh, yeah. And then just move. So
All right.
I just want to...
Right in the center.
So I've been reading a little Young lately, and anybody who reads, is it Young or Jung?
Young.
Okay.
He ain't Jung no more, he's dead.
Well, however you pronounce it. If you go in, it's pretty deep stuff. And if you have been following trends on social media right now, you know that there's a movement going on. Yeah, and I kind of wanted to respond to it in my own way. I'll tell you about it later if you don't know. Okay? This is called A Former Monster Asks for Forgiveness. Part 1, The Downfall. You see, when I was younger, I was bullied to the point of where I contemplated suicide. And I don't want sympathy for it, just acknowledgement of it, because a lot of times people treat it as if it's nothing. They say, get over it. Get over the fact that you were belittled to the point of where you were pushed down into the ground, and sometimes people who you thought were your friends were the ones laughing the hardest. I got to the point where I didn't have too many groups of friends in middle school and high school. So I don't look upon those years with a lot of joy, even now. The problem was it didn't start there. And why I said I didn't want you to feel sympathy is because later on I realized that this part of my life totally screwed up other parts. I hadn't had many good, healthy relationships throughout my 20s. I spent most of it drunk. I spent most of it in what I thought was developing close bonds with different women, but I realized years later, looking on, that I was nothing short of a monster. I wanted to be someone's hero, someone's dream, and instead I turned into a nightmare. It didn't happen all the time, but like I said, I had so much alcohol sometimes that I didn't know what was real and what was fake. And I would say one thing and do another. You know, we can't change past days. And I'm sure all of us have that one thing or another on top of another that we wish we could take back. But the truth is we can't. Part 2, the request. I request forgiveness. I request forgiveness from any soul that I've ever hurt. I didn't mean to. It just built up. Little by little. You know? It just built up. And I was too proud to go to therapy. I was too proud to go to someone to the face and say, I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for taking away any part of your humanity. Me having it stripped from myself before is no excuse. I'm just telling you that somehow, some way this was created, and I'm sorry that I pushed for further suffering. I request your forgiveness, not like that's going to change the past for you, but to let you know I know some things I did right in life, other things I did really wrong. Part 3, the pledge. I don't know at what point in the past I could go back to say I was a good person from then on. Who says that they can always be perfect? You know, sometimes we flip the person off in traffic because they cut us off. Or sometimes we talk so badly of an ex because we think that they ruined our lives, whatever it may be. I can't say for certain where that line starts, but I can tell you this. I want to be better. I hope I can be better. Not for selfish gain, but because, God damn it, the world is worth saving. The world is worth trying to be a better person. We have enough suffering. We have enough bad shit that can go down and bring people to the feeling where they don't want to continue. And I don't want to be part of that. I don't want to be part of that. I'm not saying I'm never going to swear at someone again. I'm not saying that everything I do in the future will be perfect, because we're mortal. We aren't perfect. Far from it. But my pledge is to try to do my best. And God damn it, if you're my friend or somebody closer, hold me accountable. So that we together, we can make this world better than when we left it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's red. It's all red. Thank you.
And can we welcome Antoinette Payne?
Antoinette, she's in the house. All right. Make sure this is right for you. Is that okay?
I think I'm gonna lower it just a bit. There we go.
David, thank you. Thank you. I forgot.
I
forgot nothing. Is that good? I forgot everything.
No,
Isn't that good?
they can have it.
No, I want to make sure you're comfortable. If you're not comfortable, we adjust that thing.
I want to take it down.
Oh, yeah, here to me.
And the younger, take my mojo, please.
Just make sure it's, so slip around on it. All right, there you go, my dear.
Thank you so much. Okay, this is called Dance Theater. In an entirely uncharacteristic move, she lifted both arms, waving the pilot south to the jungle. Knocking knees, flabbergasted dancers rotate outward, stretch, then collapse like a giant snail shell. Gaze up to theater lights, squint, point, direct, pinch, punch, fall over for applause. Break a leg, frown, bow. Not as easy as it looks. Rising stars compete for love. That's that. There's a part two. It's still in the same vein. Industrial city street. Stopped at the light. Lime stucco, green building, red door, the garage. First production starts at 8 above acupuncture neon flash. She's arrived. Brown paper baggers hold their hats against the wind, stand in line for sold out show. That's that.
Yeah.
This is called Meditations. A healed, heroic center of being, where fear is collapsed, sadness, shame too. Find that place, guided by angel's voice. Go deeper always. Silence reverberates in breath. Somewhere sun-touched, sparkling blue pools, families sit, hot mineral baths, smell of sulfur, we rest. Escape away, not far, deliciously alone, caught in lush spaces between the breath. There's a couple here that are kind of light. My husband passed away about a year ago. He had dementia. He was quite much older than I was. He always said he robbed the cradle. But anyway, so these are kind of about him, but anyway, I'm going to read them. So the first one's called Love. Predictable words emerge at every turn. A tape recorder loops behind similar events and evokes the same response. I forgot my keys. That was quick. You didn't get far. I'm leaving for a few days. Do you want to have sex? I'll be fine. I want a divorce. I'm a survivor. Bye. Have a good day. I love you. Authenticity takes vigilance. Love takes patience. I'm not perfect. You got that right. And then this one's called Divorce. I'm glad I didn't divorce him, but... White whiskers, gnarled hands, the book by your bed, compassionate advice for compulsive hoarders, with a receipt saved since 2008. It's not you, it's me. We have irreconcilable differences. If you stay, I'll cause you to have Alzheimer's. If I stay, I'll wait for purple iris, lemons, and bougainvillea to bloom in our garden. And then this is just a little kind of off the wall. Finding hiccups in her pocket like tiny balls of colored lint, questions posed left plausible accounts, prophetic stories too soon, too foul, crowds fall in massive graves, discharged to heaven. Nude leotard moves in space, no one cares when other women covered all but wide brown eyes. Stoned down for love, drug cartel heeds only pesos. Sneezing urban neighbors follow evil smeared landscape. Idle chatter assumes stance for truth. Unfathomable acts cough up humanity unrealized. Delayed consequences of global warming. Evolved ancient planet. Children pick pumpkins in playgrounds plagued by live arsenal and precarious shooters.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah. Antoinette. Well done.
Very beautiful. All right, everybody, get ready for Trump rabies.
I had all the answers, and then life ripped me of all the questions. Or how will I stop worrying? Learn to love our Führer, Donald Trump. Oh, Donald Trump, our me as your sex apprentice. Don't betray our love for politics turned showbiz. Who cares how high the rent Putin pays on your booty is? I want to give birth to Trump babies. Why hitch with Trump brand scabies? I'm running crazy in the streets with Trump political rabies. Oh, Donald, take me away from rabble. Neurotic undertones of your babble, because you speak in a tortured ideological scrabble while the media mangles and gropes and grapples. Listening to you is like hearing Adam eat the apple, spreading juice all over himself like mango snapple. Don't build a wall between your heart and mine. You Republican queen, I promise, me raping you is just a dream. It's true, I do want to immigrate into you, you sexy man. Don't worry, I'm 100% not Mexican. So please whip that thing up again. Oh, Hillary Clinton, she can barely be tolerated, let alone elected. Donald Trump, oh, I want to finger and stroke that dead yellow animal taxidermied and entombed on his head while we lie in the walled-off Astoria presidential suite's bed. When Congress hears of our passionate thrills, I'm sure they'll have Goldman Sachs pay our room service bills. Oh, Trump's politics are heinous, and Trump's policies painless but hard. I want Trump's maniacal rhetoric shoved up my anus.
Forward. Forward.
It won't hurt for long. Less than a decade of Donald Trump tears. At most, 8 years realized Donald Trump fears. So, I'm pasting Trump campaign posters upon my sugar walls. I'm grinding to elect Donald Trump president of my genitals. Oh, Donald, fuck us in your fits of fascism. Piss on us with your wit and wisdom. Choke us with your words until we're sick. Trump, you suck. So, why not my dick?
Before the war, I never imagined we'd miss the police state we all hated. Before the war, I never thought I'd see burning pieces of people raining down upon me like the wrath of Godzilla. Before the war, I never wept at night with joy to eat rats instead of the flesh of those who died that day. Before the war, I never thought I would mourn Antifa dead. Before the war, I never thought I'd never see you again.
You got 30 seconds.
Letter to my revolutionary comrade. I thought I was burning for Bernie. Turned out to be the chlamydia. If I told you I'd voted for Hillary, would that get rid of you? You say it doesn't matter if we vote, because it's always the same boot on our throat. You say it's the barrel of the gun that decides who lives and who dies. You say you'd rather be dead than waste your life getting kicked in the head. You say they're all two sides of the same coin that you want to spend. I say an argument over money cost me a friend.
Thank you, Trump rabies. Now, Hal Robbins.
Yep, back in the open mic, Hal Robbins. And just in case for those people who are curious and be wondering, Hal Robbins did do the keynote, but the keynote speaker always does a poem by someone else, and then they come back to do the open mic. And I'm sure you're glad, as I am glad.
Well, the theme this evening is Acting Urbane.
Yes, dear.
And this poem is Acquainted with the Night by Robert Frost. I have been one acquainted with the night. I have walked out in rain and back in rain. I have outwalked the farthest city light. I have walked out the longest city lane. I have passed by the watchman on his beat and dropped my eyes, unwilling to explain. And I have stopped to hear the sound of feet when far away a distant cry came over housetops from a distant street, but not to say good night or say goodbye. And far above, at an unearthly height, one luminary clock against the sky proclaims the time is neither wrong nor right. I have been one acquainted with the night.
Hal Robbins.
Can we get Ali Rigby?
Ali Rigby coming up on Ali, some brief. But she's tired of that.
Thank you. All right.
I have a quick story followed by a poem. Maybe it's not a story as much as a shout out on this cold, cold day. In this outfit of a big sweater, I was catcalled on my walk over as someone said, "Hey, despite it being so cold, you still look hot." And I thought, well, my goal was to be warm. But yes, no, you're right. My goal should be to look hot. As a woman, I should forget that I'm trying to write a poem, that I have an open mic with this very special community that I want to share, that I should get writing to that so it's fresh for tonight. But no, I should look really good today. It's okay that it's cold. It's okay that I have other things to worry about. I'm so glad I look hot today. Thank you, random man in a van. Shout out to
He made us laugh.
All right. Speaking of acting urbane, like you did, theme for the night.
Look at that.
All right. This poem is called Dear Aunt Sue. Dear Aunt Sue, I would first like to say thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to dinner last night. Last Sunday night, my sister and I love you, Aunt Sue, and I love that you love me, and that you love me so much that you invited me, your niece, to dinner at your house. And apparently you love me so much that you made fajitas, which I know you know is my favorite food. Aunt Sue, I love you. Thank you for that. And most of all, I love that I didn't lose my shit when you started talking and explaining to me that rape culture is not a thing and does not actually exist, and that I am not a reliable witness to my own life because I am a naive, hypocritical, shameworthy, asking for it girl. Aunt Sue! Aunt Sue, Jesus. Aunt Sue. Oh my gosh. Woo, I am ready to sue you, Aunt Sue, today, up here, right now. For your words, I am ready to sue. Good God, I am ready to sue. If only the litigation didn't sound so shitty, I would already be on that, all that argumentation, though, where everyone speaks and no one listens. Listens, Aunt Sue, listen. Your words hurt. And not just because Weinstein, not just because the hashtag #MeToo, not just because it's hard as a woman these days. It's always been hard. I'm a white chick up here, and it's still hard. Aunt Sue, it's still hard. And I'm not a woman of color, fearing that my children will be harassed or killed by police. It's still hard, Aunt Sue. And I'm not a woman who immigrated here with my family and is afraid of DACA and what that means for my dreamers. Aunt Sue, it's still hard. And I'm not a woman who identifies as trans and has fought their whole life to be recognized as a woman like you, Aunt Sue. It's still hard. It's always been hard. So I do not want to hear you spew hate anymore. I want you to hear me and drink in these words in that brittle crystal wine glass you held last Sunday night. Aunt Sue, I love you. I love you so much. And I hurt from you. I hurt for you. I hurt from this internalization, slut-shaming, victim-blaming, fuck you Weinstein, hypersexualizing, misrepresenting, dehumanizing women like you, Aunt Sue, like you. I love you, Aunt Sue. And if you have any love for me, please know the strength of the poison you drink, and of the poison you served to me last Sunday night and to all of my sisters last Sunday night. Love, Allie.
Oh, thank you,
I know you haven't had enough yet, because I haven't. And right now we're going to go to our special event, one of the special events of the evening, the mini feature, a Mr. Please welcome Clyde Always.
No! No!
They always go loose. Far around here, that way, he walks around. Where the heck was it? There he is.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, come on, step right up, folks. Come on, grab yourself a front row seat before they're gone, and they're going fast. You don't want to miss this. It's time for another exciting installment of the Clyde Always Show. With me, you're always clever, always handsome, always charming host Clyde. Always, I ain't no common carnival barker. I am
the Bard of the Lower Hay.
And tonight, I've got a special story for you, as told to me on the shores of Keuka Lake, the tale of the man who made pink.
Oh, no, God.
Once upon a time, on the island of Manhattan, there lived a man named Thaddeus Thickskull III. And Thaddeus Thickskull III had been born to a grand fortune. It was his father's fortune, his father's fortune before him, and so on, etc. The point being that all of his life, Thaddeus had had any manner of rich stuff that people like you or I could have only just possibly imagined, like caviar, and champagne, yachts, lavish parties, trips around the world, skydiving lessons, etc., etc. You name it, he'd done everything money could buy, but money could not buy Thaddeus Thickskull III happiness. And so it was one autumn morning that Thaddeus was wandering the streets of the city feeling sorry for himself. Yeah. So happens that on this particular autumn morning, Thaddeus happened upon a shop that he'd never noticed before, and in the window of the shop was a sign, and the sign said, "Make pink." And he said to himself, well, I've done everything in the world there is to do, but I've never made pink before. So he walked to the shop, strolled up the shopkeeper, said, "Yes, sign me up, I want to make pink." Shopkeeper says, "Oh yeah, you want to make pink? Well, the first thing you're going to need is a big plot of land way out in the countryside." So Thaddeus walks out, he says, "No problem, come right up." That afternoon, Thaddeus is in Brooklyn at his land broker's office, and they settle on this nice big 1,000-acre plot about an hour and a half outside of Spring, Pennsylvania. And the next day, Thaddeus returns to the shop, deed in hand. He throws the deed down on the counter. He says, "Big plot of land way out in the countryside, no problem. Now what?" And shopkeeper says, "All right, Dad, now you've got to build a lake on that plot of land, but it can't be just any old lake. This lake got to be perfectly circular in shape and exactly 1/2 a mile in diameter." So Thaddeus walks out. He says, "No problem, come right up." And that afternoon, Thaddeus is on the phone. He's making the arrangements. He needs land surveyors, geologists, there's crews of men out there with hard hats and steam shovels that work around the clock to build this lake on this plot of land. And finally, months later, millions of dollars later, Thaddeus returns to the shop. And he says, "All right, I got the lake that's perfectly circular in shape, 1/2 a mile in diameter on a big plot of land way on the countryside. Now what?" So shopkeeper says, "All right, Tad, now you got to float a boat on that lake, but it can't be just any old boat. This boat got to have a solid silver deck." So Thaddeus walks out. He says, "No problem, come right up." And that afternoon, Thaddeus is on the phone again. He's making the arrangements again. This time he needs boat builders and carpenters, mechanics, silversmiths, for crying out loud. And they're out there working around the clock to build this boat on this lake, on this plot of land. And finally, months later, millions and millions and millions of dollars later, Thaddeus returns to the shop with a crazy look in his eye. And he says, "All right, I got the boat. It's got a solid silver deck and sit pretty on the lake. It's perfectly circular, 1/2 mile in diameter, way on the countryside. Now what?" And shopkeeper says, "All right, Tad, just cool your jets. Now it's real simple. Now all you need is a pistol and some bullets." So Thaddeus walks a couple of blocks down to the pawn shop. And he gets himself a nice antique revolver and a box of bullets to go with it. And he returns to the shop and he says, "Are we ready to make pink?" And shopkeeper says, "Yeah, we're ready. Let's go." So they get into Thaddeus's deluxe stretch limousine. And the driver drives them out of the city, through New Jersey, into Pennsylvania, past Scranton, about an hour and a half, and they arrive at the plot of land, and they get onto the boat, and they power it out into the middle of the lake. Shopkeeper, test the wind. Out of breath. And he loads into the chamber of the pistol a single bullet. And he hands it to Thaddeus. He says, "All right, Tad, here's what I want you to do, big boy. You just stand there stock still. Close your eyes. Raise that gun straight in the air. Pull back on the hammer and wait for my signal." And slowly, Thaddeus does. Click. So shopkeeper buys his time. He's waiting for just the right moment to make pink. And when all is still and all is silent, does he shout, "Fire!" And Thaddeus squeezes the trigger. Bang! The bullet flies up and up up, and until it can go up no further, it begins to fall back down. Falls down and straight back down, and it hits a solid silver deck right at that is his feet, and it makes this resounding pink. What in the hell is this?
Yeah, what is that?
Believe it or not, this get a shot of that for the.
There you go, Smutty Bump.
There we go. This is Smutty Bupkis. And it happens to be the latest publication by me, yours truly, Clyde always. And I've been hunched over my desk for the last 3 weeks, scratching out all of these wonderful illustrations, and it can be yours for the low price of $5 American, $6.50 in Canada. So if you want this here book, come and get one before they're gone, because they're going fast. And from Smutty Bupkis, this is a scary Halloween poem, Bloodbath. What ruthless warrior am I to cause this crimson flood? Remorseful now I stand and cry above a sea of blood. Slaughterhouses everywhere will crumble down in shame. And Tarantino's kitty fair seems infantile tame. The chupacabras drank a sip compared to all this swill. Count Dracula would curl his lip and call it overkill. Was Gettysburg a lousy joke? Were Spartans rarely rough? Felt Caesar but a measly poke? Was Patton just a puff? Until his savagery's now moot, that tender, gentle Hun. And Genghis Khan would lick my boot to see such horrors done. Perhaps a tiny trickle fell from Christ upon the cross, but none have raised such gruesome hell as I, who's tried to floss. Does anybody here like to party? Okay, here's a few brief explanations before I wrap this song for you called Club Noise, and you'll find that in Smutty Bupkis as well.
Smutty Bupkis.
Molly is code for ecstasy, a drug which makes you feel really horny. And Tina is code for crystal meth, which is a drug that makes you go all right? Yeah, okay, now we're all on board. So here it is, Club Noise. Can I get some The music is repetitive. Drink. Dancing folks all stepping and breaking in, pulling out for smokes. Molly's nice tonight. He says a guy with all the wristbands, mostly in the dark, save for purples, greens, and blues. Eerie, flash it on tattoos. The music is repetitive. It goes. The sweat flows and drenching all those rockets blows whose armpits stink the stench on sick by noses. No. And every lovely one of them was chewing gum, feeling dumb, but never mind. The music is repetitive. The beat goes bump, and every girly feeling squirrely starts to hump. To tenderize her rump, it dresses every sort of short and skinny heels like electric eels. Oh, Molly's really nice tonight. He says the guy with a jar of pickles. Ooh, each earlobe. The music is repetitive. It never stops. The bass just drops and drops. There's Jim and Jack and Johnny Black. They in the hell, goose, now on the loose, and every salty patron does admire Sapphire. So higher, hearts are sputter, tongues are flutter, cutting through the floor like butter. The music is repetitive. Molly's really nice tonight. He says the guy with all the wristbands. You said it, dude. She ain't never rude. Says the guy with a jar of pickles. Earlobe. But I hope you might have seen her. Sexy, classy chick. She says her name is Tina. The music is repetitive.
back. We have Rusty Rebark coming in. Give him a round of applause. Then we got David, Garrett, and Brittany.
If that didn't get your blood up, I don't know. I guess you got no blood.
Yeah,
well, my name's Rusty, and I'm a post-apocalyptic. I'm not proud of it. I'll try myself up first.
They have 12 steps for that.
Yeah, it takes a lot more than that, actually.
22, maybe.
Passing through, like the sun goes with us. Wherever we go, the center of our lives moves, and we around it until it sails off, starts to fade and fall away, and we, captured under the spell of a new master, join another set of planets, though some of us, like comets, fly too fast to stay anywhere for long, only quickly passing through, following our odd elliptical orbits, speeding on near approach, frightening those whose paths, well-ordered, remain, their future the past, their present eternal. Your friend Sue, she never changes. She knows what she's talking about. She does. That's the way her whole life's been. This is named for a pretty famous folk song. Mary Ellen Carter. Bob Rogers, I think, wrote it, sang it. No, I got his name wrong. You know, as with any kind of vessel, friendships sink, all hands lost. Though you can always go beneath the waves, search the remains, memory a flat and cold seafloor, no air to breathe, which makes it hard to stay for long. Soon you must leave or drown. Amazing how lifeless what you see lies there still, gathered together, the question answered, not what, but when, now and forever. Unless in time, like that fabled ship, you find a means, dive all the way down, patch things up, maybe make what was, rise again. That's the refrain. Someone did Rise Again. I guess it was our feature. I had that Rise Again in it. That's why I dug that out of the purse. Just for that.
Oh, that's why.
That's why I was digging around the purse.
Segues.
This is called Arbeit macht frei. Friends, the battle is not between rich and poor, haves and haves not, Hatfields and McCoys. Not workers and owners, but work itself, which the rich hoard like all else, of course. The rich work are workers. They work very hard controlling work. Work is what moves, is alive, the only real value, stuff, dead. The minute you buy it, worthless, a loss, unless it works, unless as a tool or asset, it brings back more than you paid for it. Worth a measure not of the thing itself, but what it can earn. Does it work is the question. If it pays, the answer. Work, the source of power. Work, the basis for law. Work, the job of police, military, protection, their work. Murder and imprisonment. Ultimate denial of the right to work. You are what you do. Your job, your identity. Not race, not sex, not sexual persuasion, not age, not education. Your work, defined by pay. How much is it worth? Whereas unpaid labor, like raising children, donating time, giving to others, no value. But to those who trick you into giving, who turn your naivete into profit, for that is their work, their genius, the genius of the rich, getting you to work without giving you what you deserve, keeping the rest now. That is work. That really is genius. And capitalism, Arbeit macht frei.
Arbeit macht frei.
Yeah, next up is our witchy friend, Strega. I think she's new, right?
Is this your first time here? Love it, love it.
I got equipment.
Yeah, what?
Yes.
Yeah, see, I don't know if the second one works. Check it out.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, because I didn't know you were going to do it, but then I don't know anything about it, so not much.
Yes, I compose electronic music, so nothing too loud, but this is what it is.
It looks like it's working.
Strega.
Yes.
Welcome here.
Yes, hello, my name is Strega. I write songs, I compose electronic music. So I do everything from like techno to new wave stuff. Obviously techno will be a little too loud for here, but I have, let's see, how much time do we have?
5 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to do a sad song. This is a song I wrote about a decade ago. One of my more poetic ones. This is called A Wilting Lily. First, let me get kind of a music read to see how loud I can be. This is just a test.
This is just a test.
Okay.
Oh,
all right. Here we go. No, this one's yeah, this one has no beat. That was just a test song.
Was it too warm to hold like a man?
that going to be in the second Hocus Pocus? Because it should be.
Yeah, that was witchy. I liked it.
That was awesome.
Mr. David.
David Erdrich to the right place in microphone, please. Yes. Yes. All right.
All right. No. Got your instructions.
Oh, you are.
So my first response is to Brett, and that is, it's all cool if you forgive yourself. If you can really forgive yourself, the rest of it is all just down the road. Wonderful to hear Nanette's voice again, and more than one voice.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Woo.
So I'll throw this. I don't usually throw this challenge out, but when I read, I don't repeat what I write. So you hear it once, and sometimes I'll repeat it if it's a completely different audience. But so that's my challenge to you. Write every day.
Yeah.
It can be shit. It can be, but if you do it every day, it's exercising that muscle, and every once in a while, wow, that was good. You know, so that's the challenge. So I just wrote this on the way over on the Bert. On the Bert. I pick and choose material for you to ingest. I hope you'll take it in jest. This is Lug, L-L-U-G. At the beach, at the dump, doubtful, flash across your eye, white phantasm, scavenger, opportunist, wingtips, little cups of black or gray, eye-ring various, screeching, bobbing, davening. I noticed you were davening today. Unaware. You were davening.
I wasn't davening.
You were davening.
I never davened.
Yeah, well, you did today. Harrying, thieving, bobbing, screeching, davening. I dupe you into a lie, deceive you by setting a bad president.
Good job.
I pass through myself the seltzer of others, naturally carbonated. I fart poem as easily as passing gas through cardboard. Aromas, accents, diacritical diets, all add to my worm pile of fertile poop dirt. Digested, reconfigured, comedian chameleons tossing hairballs through endless sinks in a garbage disposal where candle pins light the alley and duck pins migrate to the open waters of the forest. Human transmutation into dirty pampers is leading us astray. The real path lies within the agate of motion, resinous branches, bee pollen and amber. We pretend to be perfect observers, but zoos repressing certain languages and whole cultures, trapping humans behind walls, show us as casual murderers, replacing our limbs with other people's skulls. Domestic and wild are two different ideograms. One refracts sunlight into rainbows, the other seeks only air conditioning. Without the parameters of parallel lines, genomes would shrink to gnomes, sisters Polly and Esther fray without purpose. Hope, faith, and charity leave us with uneven distribution of wealth. I have seen jungle habitation with dirt floor where spirit is unfettered. In contradistinction, the steel glass cubicle plugged into the image screen may be lost and starved when its Facebook winks out and it finds it does not know how to farm locally. We focus on the parable of seeds scattered on infertile ground and equate masturbation with guilt, instead of grokking the wonder of natural selection and the fact that each of us is the product of the love mystery. Buford's gone, but I thought if he was here, I would dedicate this one to him. It's called Play Ball.
Buford.
Take a touch of the real, spin it through your image nation, Remove the culture from your yogurt. If your cream is sour, butter your bread on both sides. Your money doubles, your intake triples, and your blue plate special slides home under the tag a slightly bruised strawberry. When all else fails, drop back 6 and pun. I am an American oregano, born and bred in the pantry of punditry. Sometimes a great noggin. For Olga and Henry before they were my cousins. Having borrowed his harmonica from Uncle Joe, the great Jewish Italian magician Mafunzolo found he was out of money. Mafunzolo found he was out of money. His doves had turned to soap. His flowers were all plastic. He was forced to retrieve scarves from whole cloth. Entertaining, he had to resort to vacationers on the lam. Chopping his assistant in two, he saw her marveling at the feet. On the other side of the family, my Uncle Jack and my cousin Andy were practicing magicians, but trying to combine both sides of the family in legerdemain, look that one up, is all relative and takes a light touch. One more. So this, if I get the chance, this will be your prompt for next week. Maybe not. Sorry. Redolent. Who doesn't know what redolent means? Who doesn't know?
There's a couple
you know what redolent means? Oh,
yeah, no, there's a couple
suggested, reminiscent. Lend me your reds, your yellows, your browns, your pinks. Take me back to the North Woods where New Hampshire seethes with the vibrancy of leaf decay. Every maple color is a reminder that cycles of the earth circle a sun of apologetic Apollo. Fall and spring play tag on every creek surface, catching tree discards, quickly sinking these skiffs with a riff of gurgle, splash, and murmur. Stream daughters speak the mother tongue, disbelief at the industrial men who commit matricide for material gain, sustaining less than a generation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Murphy, please.
Garrett Murphy in the house. And then we have Brittany Shea as a clincher closer, super duper bulldozer, the closer of the evening. Just so you know.
Mario Woods has his day. The San Francisco Police Officers Association, in a recent public performance concerning the execution of Mario Woods, displayed solidarity and unusual petulance, even after being given the chance to go first when the reporters of Woods were listening. As soon as POA was done whimpering about how so few of the populace would give them accolades for killing yet another man of color, not to mention a proposed Board of Supervisors bill honoring a day for Mario Woods, SF's supposed finance walks off in a huff, but not before threatening the Supes with all kinds of damnation. That warning did accomplish one thing, a most pleasant surprise. It united the Supes into acting as one, namely to make that day for our Mr. Woods the no-pun law of the land. In a futile attempt to save the performance, the POA wails enough waterworks to empty hetchy about what about the officers who die in the line of duty. Someone neglected to tell the POA leadership that many officers do have various days, overpasses, intersections, and others named for them, for dying in the line of duty. Now it's long overdue for someone to be honored who happened to lie in the line of missed duty. And this just in, infantries and babies, including the crybabies, are considering joining forces so that sue the SFPOA for the defaming impersonation of their characters.
All those names along the freeway, those people died in the line of duty. Is that what it takes?
Maybe.
Got a lot more roads
Well,
out
I
there.
don't know
Maybe.
all of them, but yeah, it's not Lamar.
Yeah.
A lot more roads.
The fairest play of all.
Depends on the highway.
Every now and then you may hear this line that life is not fair.
Oh boy.
Maybe it isn't. Maybe it never will be, for they say life is not fair, so get used to it.
Well, there are and have been since time began, and maybe even before, people and more people who refuse to heed that, who have made efforts to equalize the odds, to free themselves and others from bondage, from slavery, from subjugation, from one's terminal or crippling diseases, and all other forms of oppression and suffering. And on behalf of those who might have been otherwise sacrificed to the mantra that life is not fair, be it various qualities of life, or right to various entitlements, or to one's beliefs, there have just been so many disobedient souls and rabble who have refused to get used to things. That is, who just would not stop in trying to come just a few steps closer to that impossible adjective known as fair. But life is not fair. Well, maybe life isn't fair, maybe it never will be, but no matter what, there's just so many people insisting that life can be fair, or as close to it as possible. So could it be, my friend, you who say that life is not fair, so get used to it, are the one that should get used to it, that maybe you should get used to your comfort zone, which apparently you referred to when you claimed you got yours, being challenged by those who also want theirs, by those who want life to be as fair to others as it has obviously been for you.
And now the super duper clincher closer bulldog. Wait a minute. Super duper clincher closer. No, clincher closer super duper bulldoze. That's what I said. Brittany is up there. She's going to be the last word. We take down these prizes. Drinks will be served on the street.
I'm going to switch it up and do something that's not mine.
Not yourn.
Not mine, yeah. In the theme of like rising up from the net, right? Yeah, very beautiful. I thought I would start with this poem, or end with this poem, that was written by Sylvia Plath, and almost to the day, October 1962. And it's called Lady Lazarus. Okay. I have done it again. 1 year in every 10 I manage it. A sort of walking miracle, my skin, bright as a Nazi lampshade. My right foot, a paperweight. My face, a featureless fine Jew linen. Peel off the napkin, oh my enemy, do I terrify? The nose, the eye pits, the full set of teeth, the sour breath will vanish in a day. Soon, soon the flesh, the grave cave 8 will be at home on me. And I, a smiling woman, I'm only 30, and like the cat I have 9 times to die. This is number 3. What a trash to annihilate each decade. What a million filaments the peanut crunching crowd shoves in to see. Them unwrap me hand and foot, the big strip tease. Gentlemen, ladies, these are my hands, my knees. I may be skin and bone. Nevertheless, I am the same identical woman. The first time it happened, I was 10. It was an accident. The second time I meant to last it out and not come back at all. I rocked shut as a seashell. They had to call and pick the worms off me like sticky pearls. Dying is an art. Like everything else, I do it exceptionally well. I do it so it feels like hell. I do it so it feels real. I guess you could say I've a call. It's easy enough to do it in a cell. It's easy enough to do it and stay put. It's the theatrical. Come back in broad day to the same place, the same face, the same brute. Amuse, shout, a miracle that knocks me out. There is a charge. For the eyeing of my scars, there is a charge. For the hearing of my heart, it really goes. And there is a charge, a very large charge for a word or a touch or a bit of blood, or a piece of my hair or my clothes. So, air, doctor, so, air, enemy. I am your opus, I am your valuable, the pure gold baby that melts to a shriek. I turn and burn. Do not think I underestimate your great concern. Ash, ash, you poke and stir, flesh, bone. There is nothing there. A cake of soap, a wedding ring, a gold filling. Ere God, ere Lucifer, beware, beware. Out of the ash I rise with my red hair, and I eat men like air. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Someone might, oh, he has the attribution. She's bringing it up here. Thank you. And now, if you'll remember correctly, when you signed in, you put your name next to a number. You'll notice the numbers on the card. I am shuffling them now. And between us here, we shall make sure that these prizes are distributed.
Add that to the prizes.
Smutty Bupkis
Smutty Bupkis
is in there. I Love My Body, my Dateless Diary. It's a very interesting book. I read parts of it. It's great. The Wrong End of the Rainbow by Charles Wright. He's not wrong. Toasting the Hunt by Al Nightingale, who has read here before. Narcissism, in case you don't think it applies. Remember? The Happiness Project, which may not apply, but wish it did. Wildness, Wildlife, and this 2 tickets to the one-man show, Subhuman, the SF Mime Troupe Studio, 855 Treat Avenue. This is Saturday, the 21st. This gets 2 people in the dirt, as they say. Dirt. And then if none of those float your boat, you can be the co-pilot like this individual has done here. Have the last word like this individual just did. And choose the next week's theme, be the keynote, or the mini feature, which this person was today. There you go. So now those are all there.
Who's the feature next week?
Oh, the feature next week is Wolf Luz and Robin Michael or Mitchell. I'm not sure. Losey, thank you.
You're welcome.
I never heard her say the words. I don't know.
And who else did you have? Elena, you switched out Elena?
Well, Elena couldn't do it. She said
Correct.
so. Robin,
Correct.
is it Michael or Mitchell? Michel. It's like, I'm not sure how she does that because I haven't heard these. I haven't.
It might be Michelle.
It might be Michelle. But anyway, they know each other, and Elena couldn't do it, so Robin said me. All right, so shuffle the cards, please, if you don't mind, just a little bit, so people will not think that I'm just doing it, you know. Shuffling. Shuffle up the buffalo. Shuffle up the buffalo. Shuffle.
Or should I continue?
No.
They're shuffling.
You know, they're waiting, and you know that's just like our precious. I'll figure out the next word.
It's fine.
All right. So the first number is number 12. Who is 12?
Number 12 is Nanette.
Nanette, you are the first winner of the evening. What? So any of these things are yours. Just so you know.
Oh my God. So when do I pick it now?
Well, yes, because other people will be picking, and then if you want something that you don't take, then someone else will take that. Then he's here, he'll sign that.
I don't know. That's pretty cool.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
My Dagless. Oh my
Your
God.
pleasure is our pleasure.
Oh, this sounds good.
Yeah, that is. I would consider that.
I might have to try Smutty.
Yeah!
And who is 5?
Number 5, LG Ross.
Is LG still here?
Is LG in the head?
No, I think
He left.
there he is. Oh, yeah, LG, you are the next winner.
You what?
These prizes.
Anything on the table.
Any of these things that are on the table are yours. You can decide to come back and do one of these things or whichever you want. So it's confusion, I know. So there's books. This is a ticket for 2 this performance. This is the co-pilot. He did the keynote. The last word. He did the mini feature. Hal did the keynote.
I'll mini feature sometime.
Well, you want to come back next week?
I live in LA.
Oh, you better grab yourself a book.
Better grab something that you can take. This is good reading. Even though
that shown that is that available?
Oh, he wants it.
well, it's not a prize, but you can ask. These are prizes.
It's $5.
You can buy that ticket prize.
Do you recommend one?
This was interesting writing. I'll have to say it's New York from 1960, so it's a lot of history. It's like
I'll take that. I like that.
You might didn't really get into it because the writing itself was good. There's typos in there here and there, but it's fun to read. Oh, he did?
Thank you so much.
All right, there we go. Number 6.
Number 6 is Wednesday.
Okay, now I'm going to turn this off.